Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, today we are going to talk about the roads to security, how to achieve it, what it is, what its purpose is, and how we can do a little bit better. Why we would want to. I would hope in this context it's easy to understand why we would want to do better. We're doing this because over on the other channel, I mentioned a focus on prevention and security being the priority, should be the priority. And a lot of people immediately thought security meant one specific thing, and that's not really what it takes. You don't have to introduce a whole bunch more of those things to a school to achieve security. And you had people who actually understood security. Like, the purpose of security is it's not to actually stop a person. And that's true. And this is something that most people don't understand. When you are talking about corporate or private security, the goal is not actually to stop the person. It's not to make that location just impenetrable. It's to make it so annoying they go somewhere else. It sends them down the road. Goes to a different location. If somebody is trying to penetrate your security, you are trying to make it so annoying, so hard, that they go somewhere else. Now, in this context, in the context of schools, that's not the goal. That's not the goal, because it doesn't matter where it happens, it's bad. So you're trying to achieve something else. One of the things that people often say is that with enough will, resources, and time, any security can be defeated. And that's true. That's a true statement. You will never make a facility so secure that the security can't be defeated. That's not a thing. Will, resources, and time. Time. Nashville PD just set the standard. 13 to 14 minutes call to fall. The time it takes to defeat your security should be 15 minutes. Because that time frame from Nashville, that also includes assembly, entry, everything, not just the arrival. And if you do it right, things can the dynamic can change right at arrival. So that's what you're looking to create. You're looking to create a delay in which the call can go out and nothing bad has happened yet. The lockdown can start. The call can go out. And you're trying to create a buffer. Physical security can do this. It can. It just has to be implemented and then carried out, which is the hard part. Because security is annoying. Security it's a pain. It doesn't allow for certain normal behaviors and stuff like that. And it's not stuff, you can set it up to where it really doesn't impact the students, but the staff have to continue to carry it out. So we're going to go through some really simple, basic stuff that can help create that delay. From the time the person is noticed and the call goes out to when they would actually be able to do something bad. And in a lot of cases, a lot of scenarios, they end up hitting that point where there would be arrival, where the cops would start to show up before they ever get to hurt anybody. And that should be the goal. Okay, so step one. What's the first thing you think of when you think of securing an installation? A fence, right? Yeah, you need one. A tall one. A tall one. And yes, I understand that if they wanted to, they'll climb it. We'll get to that. But you have a fence. Now, there is one entry and exit point. One way to drive a vehicle through that gate, to get through that fence. And this is the only additional armed person that is going to be needed in most places, because most places already have an SRO. They already have a school resource officer. They have an armed person there already. You're adding one at the gate. But this person never interacts with students. This person isn't wandering the halls. This person is at that gate. So, during pickup and drop off, there's stickers. You have stickers for each vehicle. They have the year on it, and they are replaced every year. The ink is on the sticky side. So the sticker has to be placed inside the vehicle on the windshield, and it has the year on it. Certainly, some people are going to say, replacing the stickers every year, that's just going to be an ongoing expense, and it's going to cost less than what we're losing now. Okay, so the sticker goes in. During pickup and drop off, most people on most days are just going to roll right by the gate if they have the sticker. But every day there's a set percentage of cars that are going to be stopped, and they're going to get an ID check. And that ID check consists of the guard saying, "Hey, let me see your ID." And that person then, the guard calls up to the school, confirms the information. Yes, there's somebody, it's a parent, they're supposed to be there, all of this stuff. And on most days, it's 10%. Some days it's 25%. Some days it's 50%. Some days it's 100%. And yeah, those days are super annoying. You can talk to anybody that has ever gone on a military installation and ask them about the feelings they have when they're driving towards the gate and they see 100% over on a sign. They know they're going to be sitting there a while. Yep, it's annoying. It's part of it. The fluctuation in the percentages checked, these are not pre-announced. That fluctuation, it disrupts somebody's planning. They don't know what's going to happen. So they tend to go to a different entrance, which is kind of the goal here. But during the ID check, is it really about checking the ID and getting the information? No, it's about the guard looking into the car. Is the person wearing boots? Do they have a vest on? Is there anything visible in the vehicle that might raise suspicion? Now, during pickup and drop off, probably not going to be where this happens in most cases initially, because that's not how it has historically occurred. Okay, but once you start implementing the gate throughout the day, if you leave it open during pickup and drop off, that's when the bad person will show up. They plan. You have to plan for their planning. So that's pickup and drop off. Throughout the day, every vehicle showing up at an abnormal time gets their ID checked. And yes, undoubtedly, somebody's going to be like, well, I'm Karen McCarran-Face with the PTA, and I'm just driving my friend's car today. That's great. All you have to do is show me an ID, Miss McCarran-Face. Nobody cares. Okay? It's going to be annoying, and it's going to make people mad. That's fine. That's fine. They need to learn how to deal with disappointment in life. So during this part of the day, same thing applies. It's not actually about checking the ID. It's not about that. It's about seeing what is going on in the vehicle and hopefully deterring people from trying to make it through and get close to the school this way. Let's say somebody puts everything in the trunk and they're totally cool and they make it through the gate. What happens then? They get to the parking lot and they have to kit up. During this period, they'll be noticed. The call goes out, the timer starts, lockdown starts. You're creating that delay, and that's what you're trying to achieve. Okay, now, when you're talking about the building itself, there are cameras on the roof, on the outside of the building. They are facing the gate, the parking lot, the fence. Everything is covered 100%. The monitors to these cameras are inside the office. If something is noticed, somebody's climbing the fence, somebody's pulling stuff out of a trunk, the call goes out, the lockdown starts, the timer starts. The monitors are off most of the time. The cameras will turn the monitors on when they sense motion. The monitor will come on, it'll make a little noise, and it draws people's attention to it. This is technology that exists. It's cheap. I think it's actually in your Ring camera thing. The reason you want to do this is because if you are the person trying to penetrate security, there's kind of a rule. You're not actually trying to defeat the multi-million-dollar security system. You're trying to defeat the person getting paid $11 an hour to watch it. If you have the monitors on all the time, people tend to zone them out. They just don't pay attention to them anymore. So they're not on all the time. They flash on when there's motion, and then a button has to be pushed to turn the monitor back off and put it back in standby. So this helps with the entire perimeter. And this is a couple of minutes that can be bought as far as getting that call out early before they ever get to the school, before they ever actually get to the building. Now, let's say this happens. Something is noticed. Somebody comes over their fence. Somebody opens their trunk. Things are looking bad. The call goes out. What else occurs other than the lockdown? The guard gate and the SRO converge on that person from different directions. They don't meet up and then go. They converge on that person from different directions. The first person that is spotted, odds are, they're going to take fire. They are going to take fire. If the person is up to bad things, that's when it'll probably start. Outside the school, away from the students. When, right? The reason you want them converging and coming from different directions is because if somebody is looking one way and engaging, it's really easy for them to get hit from another direction. Hopefully, it could be stopped before they ever get to the school. Maybe they can only pin them down until arrival of emergency responders. But either way, that delay, that clock, it started. Okay, so the school itself, the actual building, one entrance. There's one way that is open throughout the day, right by the office. When you go through the door, the best way to do this would be to have a buzzer and an intercom system. So before you ever even enter the building, you hit the buzzer and you say what you're there to do and whatever, right? You're on camera at this point. If they have something, the door doesn't open. The timer starts. This is assuming that whatever happened was missed by the outer rings of security. It's caught there at the door. Okay? If they make it through that, they make it through the first door, they get buzzed in. Now they're in a room with another set of doors in front of them. These are real doors, security doors, reinforced doors. To their right, there's a window, bullet-resistant glass. Almost everything gets handled through there. Parents coming to drop off little Timmy's bag, they use the box. There will be a box that it's passed through. It only opens from one side at a time. One side opens up in the foyer area, and you can set in little Jimmy's bag. It closes, and the staff can run it to little Jimmy. Most people will never get past this area. Okay? If it is a bad person, once they enter that area, assuming they get through the first doors, they still have to get through the second doors. During this time, the call has gone out. The lockdown has started, right? And you've set that clock in motion. You're waiting for arrival. If it was missed, by the guard gate and the cameras and everything, and they've made it in there, you still have two people who can respond immediately to somebody in that little confined space. And that's ideal because they can't move without encountering one of them. The guard gate would be coming from outside, the SRO from inside. You've got them pinned. All other doors, all other exterior doors in that school, in every school, they're real doors. Bullet-resistant glass if you have to have a window. They're security doors. Yes, they can still get through if they use the right stuff, but it takes time, it's loud, it's noisy, it starts the clock, starts the lockdown, creates the delay. Now, realistically, in most scenarios, when you are talking about somebody coming from outside of the school, this is enough. It really is. This should be enough to create the delay for responders to get there. But let's say something happens and they make it inside. What else is going on there? Back to the exterior doors for a second before I move on and forget this. All exterior doors, except for the one approved one, are shut throughout all time. They're closed. You don't use them. If it can be accessed from the exterior of that building, we're not necessarily talking about like a courtyard or something like that, but they're closed. Inside the office, there is a map, lights and noise. If a door is opened, light goes on where it is, and the little alarm clock sound works. It comes on. People inside the office are looking. Now, if it stays open or it's not supposed to be open, it goes and it's secured. If somebody props a door open, they're gone. They're gone. I don't care if it is that teacher's 364th day of their 19th year and they're about to retire. They're gone. No exterior door gets left unsecured. Okay, so let's say the person makes it inside at that point. With everything, with all the different layers, the lockdown should have already started. They should already be secured. So hopefully the doors inside the school itself are decent, because of that delay, it's already running. By this point, people are already trying to get there. Lights and sirens are already on the way. I have seen a pretty interesting little product recently, and basically it's plating that sits in the corner. There's two sections, meets in the corner of the room, and in an emergency it can be pulled out, and it's still, and it's a collapsible panic room. Really cool design, really inventive, gives a good place to hide. One thing that I want to point out is that most schools have drop ceilings. If you do not harden the ceiling area, a bad person can just raise up the tile, and it's really bad from there. So if you're going to employ something like this, you could you have to reinforce the ceiling area. But personally, I like the idea of something like that, but it's staying out all the time. It can be decorated. It can blend in. That way, again, you're not trying to turn a school into a military installation. You're not trying to turn it into a prison. You're trying to still maintain the atmosphere of a school. That little room, it could be the computer room, or it could be something, an art room in that class, a study room, whatever. The students don't necessarily have to be constantly reminded that it's to shield them from rounds. I really liked that design, with the exception of the ceiling thing. So this helps you create that scenario where the delay gives you time to secure the students and prevent loss. If you employ good physical security, It should be really unlikely that the first sign of a problem is a shot. And that's what you want to achieve. And if you can get the lockdown going before the person enters, when the arrival happens from emergency responders, you have made their job really easy, because that person is going to be walking up and down those hallways trying to find something to do, trying to find a way to get in or whatever. And they're in a funnel. It should be really easy. And again, you have two people there to respond. And you don't turn the school into some militarized fortress. All of this is pretty low signature, but it'll work. You're creating that delay. And there are tons of other things that can be done. I know that there are security professionals that watch this. Yes, yeah, there's way more that can be done. But this stuff, simple, easy to implement, and cheap, because it's the U.S. and, we put the dollar back into idolatry. People care about the money. This is all pretty inexpensive, and it'll work. It will pay off. So it's an overview of what can be done. While you have a bunch of people saying nothing can be done, there's always something that can be done. And even in situations where the assailant is from inside the school, not somebody coming from outside, a lot of this still helps. There's not going to be one set template that is going to solve all problems. But this is a really good one to deal with, one that's sadly pretty common. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.